October 29, 1929, the day the stock market crashed, shattering dreams and plunging the world into darkness. The Roaring Twenties, with its jazz music and flapper dresses, came to a screeching halt. The Great Crash marked the beginning of the Great Depression, a decade of hardship and despair. It was about people, families who lost their savings, workers who lost their jobs, and businesses forced to close. Amidst the despair, there were stories of resilience, communities coming together, and individuals rebuilding their lives. The Great Crash is a stark reminder of the importance of economic stability and the need for regulations to prevent such catastrophic events. The 1920s in America were a time of unprecedented economic growth and social change. Cities were expanding rapidly, and the skyline of New York was a testament to this newfound prosperity. New technologies like the radio and the automobile were transforming everyday life. Families gathered around radios for entertainment and news, while automobiles made travel more accessible than ever before. Jazz music filled the airwaves, and flapper dresses became a symbol of the era's newfound freedom and modernity. Clubs were packed with people dancing to the latest jazz tunes, embodying the spirit of the Roaring Twenties. However, beneath the surface of this exuberant prosperity lay a darker reality. The glittering facade of wealth masked underlying economic vulnerabilities. The economic boom was fueled by easy credit and rampant speculation. Banks were more than willing to lend money, and people were eager to take advantage of these opportunities. People were borrowing heavily to invest in the stock market, driving prices to unsustainable levels. The allure of quick profits led many to take on significant financial risks. The agricultural sector was struggling and income inequality was widening. While urban areas thrived, rural communities faced hardships, and the gap between the rich and the poor grew ever larger. The stock market became a symbol of this speculative frenzy. It was a place where fortunes were made and lost in the blink of an eye. Margin buying, where investors borrowed money to buy more stock, became increasingly common. This practice amplified both gains and losses, adding to the market's volatility. Few seemed to notice the warning signs, the cracks in the foundation of this seemingly invincible economic machine. Headlines focused on the booming market, while the underlying issues were largely ignored, setting the stage for an inevitable collapse. Tuesday, October 29, 1929. The day began like any other on Wall Street, but the air was thick with anxiety. As the trading day began, a wave of selling swept through the exchange. Panic set in as stock prices plummeted. The ticker tape couldn't keep up with the volume of trading, adding to the confusion and fear. By the end of the day, over 16 million shares had been traded, a record at the time. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged by almost 13%, wiping out billions of dollars in value. As news of the crash spread, a sense of shock and disbelief swept across the nation. The 1929 stock market crash wasn't a single event, but the culmination of several factors that had been brewing for years. One key factor was overspeculation in the stock market. Easy credit and a culture of get-rich-quick schemes had fueled a speculative bubble. Margin buying amplified these gains but also magnified the eventual losses. Another factor was the struggling agricultural sector. Years of overproduction and falling crop prices had left many farmers deeply in debt. This agricultural depression had a ripple effect throughout the economy. Income inequality also played a role, contributing to a decline in consumer spending. The lack of effective regulation in the financial system also contributed to the crash. Section 5. Echoes of Ruin. The crash's immediate impact. The immediate impact of the crash was swift and devastating, sending shockwaves through the financial world. Millions of investors, many of whom had borrowed heavily to buy stocks on margin, were wiped out overnight, losing their life savings in an instant. Banks that had financed these margin loans faced a wave of defaults, leading to a banking crisis that threatened the entire financial system. Businesses, both large and small, felt the effects as consumer spending dried up almost immediately, causing a ripple effect throughout the economy. Factories cut back production drastically, leading to mass layoffs and a sharp increase in unemployment. Unemployment soared, reaching unprecedented levels, with millions of people suddenly out of work and struggling to make ends meet. The lines at soup kitchens and bread lines grew longer each day, as more and more people found themselves in desperate need of assistance. The crash also had a profound psychological impact on the nation, shattering the sense of security and optimism that had characterized the Roaring Twenties. Fear and uncertainty gripped the nation, leading to a widespread loss of confidence in the economic system and the government's ability to provide relief, as people anxiously awaited news and hoped for a solution to the crisis. Section 6. Faces of the crash: key figures and their roles. The 1929 stock market crash was shaped by the actions and inactions of numerous individuals. Charles Mitchell, president of National City Bank, encouraged speculative lending and margin buying. Irving Fisher, a renowned economist, famously declared that stock prices had reached a permanently high plateau just days before the crash. William Durant, founder of General Motors, lost his fortune in the crash. But the crash wasn't just about Wall Street tycoons. It was about the millions of ordinary Americans who lost their savings, their jobs, and their homes. Their stories are a poignant reminder of the human cost of economic crises. Section 7. The Great Depression: a decade of despair. The 1929 stock market crash marked the beginning of the Great Depression. The Great Depression was characterized by high unemployment, bank failures, and widespread poverty. Industrial production plummeted, businesses closed their doors, and millions of Americans found themselves out of work. The unemployment rate soared to over 25%. The Dust Bowl, a severe drought that ravaged the Midwest, compounded the economic hardship. Farmers saw their fields turn to dust, forcing many to abandon their homes and migrate west. The Great Depression had a profound impact on American society, shaking people's faith in capitalism and the government's ability to address economic crises. Section 8. Lessons learned preventing future crises. The 1929 stock market crash and the ensuing Great Depression taught the world some hard lessons. One of the key lessons learned was the danger of unchecked speculation. This experience led to the establishment of regulatory bodies, such as the Securities and Exchange Commission. Another important lesson was the need for a stable banking system. The banking crisis highlighted the importance of strong banks and effective banking regulations. This led to reforms such as the creation of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. The Great Depression also underscored the importance of government intervention in times of economic crisis. Section 9. The New Deal: a turning point in American history. The New Deal, a series of programs and reforms implemented by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, marked a turning point in American history. It represented a significant expansion of the federal government's role in the economy. The New Deal had three main goals: relief for the unemployed and poor, recovery of the economy, and reform of the financial system. It included programs such as Social Security and the Works Progress Administration. The New Deal was not without its critics. However, it is widely credited with helping to alleviate the worst effects of the Depression. The legacy of the New Deal continues to shape American society today. Section 10. The Legacy of 1929: Shaping Modern Finance. The 1929 stock market crash and the ensuing Great Depression had a profound and lasting impact on the world. It was a time of unprecedented financial turmoil that shook the very foundations of the global economy. One of the most significant legacies of the crash was the development of modern financial regulations. These regulations were designed to prevent such a catastrophic event from happening again and to restore public confidence in the financial system. This led to the creation of regulatory bodies, such as the SEC and the FDIC. These institutions were established to oversee and regulate the financial markets, ensuring transparency and stability. The crash also led to a greater understanding of the importance of macroeconomic management. Economists and policymakers began to recognize the need for a more proactive approach to managing the economy. This led to the development of macroeconomic theories and policies that continue to shape economic policymaking today. Concepts such as fiscal stimulus and monetary policy became essential tools in the government's arsenal to combat economic downturns. The 1929 crash also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of economic inequality. The vast disparities in wealth and income contributed to the severity of the Depression, highlighting the need for a more equitable distribution of resources. The widespread suffering caused by the Depression underscored the need for policies that promote economic opportunity and provide a safety net for those in need. Programs like the New Deal were instrumental in providing relief and rebuilding the economy, setting a precedent for future social safety nets and economic reforms. Section 11. Conclusion. Remembering the crash, embracing the future. The 1929 stock market crash stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of economic systems and the human cost of financial instability. Today, as we navigate a world grappling with new economic challenges, it's more important than ever to remember the lessons of the past. By learning from the mistakes of the past and embracing a future grounded in sound economic principles, we can work towards a more stable, just, and prosperous world for all. The legacy of 1929 is not just about remembering the crash, but about using its lessons to build a better future.